This is CEM, with Golden Butter Sports, and I'm here to let that butter spread. And I want to talk about your Dallas Cowboys and my Dallas Cowboys. And I want to talk about why the Dallas Cowboys will not make the playoffs. Yeah, I said that. Why the Dallas Cowboys will not make the playoffs. Now, I'm going to be Captain Obvious, and you'll hear other, prognosticators on YouTube and on the radio talk about pretty much the same thing. That's what we do. This is going to be pretty easy, this one, about why the Cowboys will not make the playoffs. And number one is the offensive line concerns. You concerned about them? I am. I saw him in practice. Shout out to Law Nation. I saw his video, and every time I looked, they were getting pressure on Dak Prescott and all the quarterbacks. They had to step up, almost run for their life. Now, Zach Martin is not there right now, and that's a distraction. And when Zach Martin comes back, is he going to be the same Zach Martin, the Hall of Fame Zach Martin, soon to be? Will he be at that level when he gets back? And also, you have to have continuity on the offensive line. You really do. So he really needed to be in training camp. Not to just take all the punishment, but to just, hey, know your assignments, what to do. Zach already knows this, but it's for the benefit of the other offensive linemen. Okay. But without that offensive line, I'm telling you, Dallas is going nowhere. And you already know about Tyron Smith. How many games you think Tyron Smith going to get you? He probably give you about 6. I'm going to go ahead and say 7. I'm on record. He might give you 7. You know he's not holding up the whole season. Now, what's behind him? What's behind Zach Martin? Yeah, I don't like it. In fact, I didn't like how the Cowboys drafted this year as far as offensive linemen were concerned. I'm hoping that this will not be an issue, but if it is, I'm telling you, Dallas will not make the playoffs. And that's pretty obvious. Second, running backs. What did you say? Yeah, running backs. Man, they have Deuce Vaughn now. They have Tony Pollard. Okay, well, let's talk about them too. They small. You think they're carrying the ball 25 times a game? You think they can carry that kind of load? Deuce Vaughn ain't bigger than I am. Okay, I know he did good in college, but come on, man, that was college. This is the pros now. Yeah, he played against some good competition. Okay, but now this is pro competition now. You think them two can hold up for a long, extensive period of time, carrying the ball 25 times? That's not their game. I know it's not Tony Pollard's game because you don't want them to get hurt. They needed him. Did you see the San Francisco game? What happened to him when he got hurt? What happened to Dallas's offense? They're going to need him, but they don't need to run them into the ground. Now, you got Ronald Jones, but Ronald Jones is out for at least 2 games because he has performance-enhancing drug problems. That's a distraction. And about the other running backs, okay, we'll see what they can do. Can they pick up blitzes? Listen, if you don't have a good running game, regardless of how the NFL is devaluing the running backs now, you still need a running game, okay? You need it. Without a running game, Dak Prescott is not effective because he cannot do his play-action passing game. He needs a running game. He's always needed it. Okay? Regardless of what you saw about him winging the ball around, did you see those interceptions that he was throwing last year that everybody's just overblowing? Well, he's going to throw more if, 1, you don't have an offensive line, and 2, if you don't have a decent running game. So now, let's just be real about this thing. Dallas needs a running game, and you're not bringing Zeke back, are you? Oh, man. Come on, man. Let's stop that. The next reason, the schedule is tough, y'all. I looked at it. I don't know if you listened to my latest podcast talking about Philadelphia's schedule compared to Dallas' schedule. There's no comparison, not really. Dallas' schedule is tough. Now they play 17 games. I don't know why the players agreed to that nonsense to play all these games. 16 was good enough. Now, they want to play 17. So, okay. Well, out of the 17 games, out of those 17 games that Dallas plays, uh 12 of them are against opponents with a 500 or better record. Did you hear what I said? 12 of those games are against teams with a 500 or better record. And that includes the NFC East. There was no teams in Dallas division that had a losing record. Well, Washington wasn't that good. No, Washington didn't have a losing record. And if you look at some of the teams that Dallas played, like the Jets and the Patriots, they were one game under 500. They were tough. Take a look at Dallas's road schedule. Take a look at their schedule. Their schedule is tough. It's real tough. And that's going to be a problem. And you know how Dallas plays on the road. They can lay eggs on the road really bad. They did last year. And it cost them too. So now, you look at Dallas's schedule. It's tough, brother. It's real tough. And it's going to cost Dallas if they mess around and start out slow. So you better get your game on with this schedule so that you can at least win 11 to 12 games again. Looking at their schedule, they can't afford to be messing around. The next reason is that, do you trust your special teams? Who your field goal kicker? What's his name? I don't know, y'all. I don't know who's going to be kicking field goals. I don't know. And they don't either. So now, let's just say you need this win. You need it bad. And it's a 48-yard field goal on the road. And you down by 1. You trust your kicker to make that kick, whoever he is? You trust him? You didn't trust Brent Maher, that's where you let him go. The guy couldn't kick extra points. Remember the playoff game? The dude just went wacko and just couldn't kick the ball between the goalposts. They had let him go. What happens if you get a field goal kicker that can't kick? It's a problem. What happens if your special teams can't tilt the field? What happens if you can't return kicks, punts? This stuff could cost you. If you can't tilt the field, get good field position. You don't want your team driving 80 yards, 85 yards, 75 yards every time. No. You need good special teams. I don't know if Dallas has good special teams. Not right now. The next reason. There's going to be a lot of pressure on Dak Prescott and the head coach. And the reason why that is because the Cowboys have not made the NFC Championship game in 28 years. 28. And a lot of Cowboy haters are blowing that thing up. Y'all haven't been to the Super Bowl in almost 30 years. So? But however, we hearing that. And you know who else is hearing that? Jerry Jones. And you know what? He's putting pressure on the head coach, which trickles down all the way to the quarterback. Now, can they handle this pressure? They're going to have to, because if they wilt under this pressure, they will crack and they will fold and it will be a horrible season, because they're going to hear it all year from Cowboy haters. And by the way, you can't blame this on Kellen Moore anymore. He's gone. You shipped him off to San Diego. Oh, not San Diego, but the Los Angeles Chargers. I don't know why they moved from San Diego. But anyway, the Los Angeles Chargers is Kellen Moore's thing now. He's over there with that team. So who you going to blame now when the mistakes are happening? Well, every time you don't make a good call, that's going to fall on the head coach. And by the way, I don't want to see you going for it, coach. On 4th and 7 at your own 28 or 35-yard line. Punt the ball, man. You know he's been known to do that. Yeah. Punt the ball. As for Dak Prescott, you remember those 15 interceptions? He led the league, or he was somewhere at the top. And a lot of Cowboy haters was throwing it up in my face. I didn't care, because a lot of those interceptions wasn't his fault. However, he better not have a whole lot of turnovers this year, because it's going to cost him if he does. So now, and plus on top of that, he's in a new system. Will he be able to read defenses? Will he be able to read zone coverages? Will wide receivers make the right adjustments? Because West Coast offense, you have to make adjustments. Now, I understand that the coach said he's going to keep it simple. They better. Because if they don't, they're going to have a problem. Now, the last one is pretty obvious. And I mentioned it earlier. The Cowboys can't sustain any kind of major injuries. None. Now, go ahead and just chalk up Tyron Smith. He going to get hurt. Okay, we got that out the way. What's behind him? I done told you. I don't know. You can't have an injury to Dak Prescott. You cannot have injuries to a bunch of your cornerbacks. I like the cornerbacks. However, you cannot have injuries to Leighton Vander Esch or to Michael Parsons. You can't have injuries. Okay? You can't have that. And by the way, the two defensive linemen that's in the front, you can't have injuries to them either. And by the way, go ahead and let me just go ahead and say Tank Lawrence is going to get hurt too. Yeah, I'm not wishing that on him. I just know our players, they get hurt. He gets hurt. Tank does. Yeah, he does. And Tyron Smith is going to get hurt. And you're going to need him. You better hope that Leighton Vander Esch's neck holds up, that he doesn't get hurt. Did you see what happened when Leighton Vander Esch got hurt? Man, they couldn't stop the run at all. You can't afford that. What happened when the cornerbacks got hurt? That dude that wears number one jersey that played last year, go by this rap name Boss Man Fat, they was exposing that brother. They exposed him. You can't have injuries like that. So, with that being said, that's Mr. Captain Obvious. You can't have injuries of any kind. What happens if Brandon Cooks get hurt? That's your only deep threat? You got to have something else other than him that's fast, right? Okay. You depending on Jonathan Hankins and a rookie to make a major impact on your defensive line. I don't see that happening with the rookie. Not really. Hopefully he will, but I generally don't see defensive linemen their first year make a major impact. If any one of those guys get hurt up front, it's going to be trouble right up that middle, and the NFL will expose you right there early and often. So now, with that being said, those are the reasons why the Dallas Cowboys will not make the playoffs. And the main ones are the injuries, the coaching, and the quarterback. Those right there are the major ones. With that being said, this is Sim with Golden Butter Sports, letting that butter spread.